So this is a poem that came from a prompt from my man NQ. Big ups to NQ. It was part of the Awfully Good Writers program that Buddy and team put together. Shout out to Buddy. But yeah, it was a prompt that he asked folks to do, to write about a moment that changed your life, that sort of a time that sort of made you who you are. So I wrote about it, and this is what came out. I think I'm going to call it Stuck at this point, but it may turn into something else. Needless to say, here we go. I am wrung from the sediment of granite hands, a flint edge ready for a motherfucker to brush fire. You know what devils had to be tamed for me to be here now? Eating at this language, vapid like anything I say will outweigh the dialect my skin speaks at the speed in which a synapse can go from eye to the brain to the trigger pull is about 150 milliseconds, and my truth don't near move that fast. Not least at the speed of the skin. It never did, it never will. But on these 2 feet, here I am standing in a yoke broken out of trauma. After the swell of 4 gun nozzles raised behind my neck, the slow turn to realize that serve and protect did not speak my color. As quickly as my sight moved from their 4 gun sights to the momentary ease of seeing the uniform, to the immediate unease at seeing the uniform, then back to my own mortality, was still not as fast as how instantly my parents would have to be asked to rename their son Boy resisting arrest. I remember trying to keep so still, with a slice of pizza in one hand and my heart in the other, so rigor mortis that I fell back into the door like a demolishing church grasping for lost souls. See, back then it was more say their eulogy and less say their names. I imagine there must be a COVID-1. And if so, how must it feel after it took 18 more generations to be acknowledged? Like I imagine the jealousy of all the unknown spirits that cannot attach themselves to hashtags. Do you know how the flashbacks to that fall backwards moment makes every new news story feel like a collapsed lung? Guess all of them Heinekens I had must have mulattoed my blood some, because that day's outcome wrote lucky above my obituary column. It was like one of them memories, one of them, remember that time I almost never knew my daughter's name kind of memories. To know that the only response to piss now running down my leg and staining my pants was that I fit the description of someone breaking into houses, as if they hadn't just broken into the only place my vulnerable ever called home, and even that wasn't offered up until they slowly reholstered their prejudice. You know who I need to be to strangle the air outside this moment? To be strangled by the fear of what they don't see and what they don't know yet, but I'm still here. I'm still here by the off chance their fingers are steady enough to not paint me into a mural splashed on an undisturbed feature wall with graffitied words 6 feet tall in memory of one more nigger unfortunate enough to look like himself. You know how hard it is to be born of love, but to look like hate to people who will never know how much your heart is spread across the sky. And I changed that day. That day, something soured inside me so faint. I didn't realize it happened until the taste found itself in my mouth the first time I told my daughter I'd keep her safe. It is a slipped breath you cannot catch, no matter how deeply inhale. Cotton mouth and raw. I learned over time that this is an initiation ceremony to a tribe of throats gasping for air. So any argument I have with myself about how important my life is like debating with a mayfly the best way to live a 24-hour lifespan. But you know what they say, right? You ain't lived till you outlived a police stop. So I guess that makes me part cat, fighting the inevitable. But today I lay into the wind and search for harmony in the sway. And after tucking away the latest genocide into my breast pocket, I am a shaky hand of a clock wound too tight. And my wife asks, how do you hide your wrists from men who want to adorn them? And I remind her of that scene in The Avengers, you know, the one where Bruce Banner is told by Captain America, no less, now may be a good time to get angry. And he responds, well, that's my secret. I'm always angry. Well, I'm always black. and I'm always angry too, but to hold on to this heartbreak is to stay stuck. And I have to move or I will be made still. So I push through and swallow this pill, because in order for my body to survive, my mind must be free-willed. But still, do you know how much reclaiming your name it takes to convince your bones you come from legacy? To walk into who I have to be versus the massacre of who I wanted to be in that moment. See, this is less poem and more diary. More ignored incidents and less inquiries. Just reaching 50 should not be the reason to admire me. Nonetheless, the survival of that silent scream taught my body to hoard things that should be shed. But this skin cannot be abandoned. Instead, it welts and breaks into a graveyard of trauma. A boxed heirloom left in a hidden drawer under a rubbled ruin, grown out of a crippled quarry, when every morning I search for how to rid myself of these stone hands, to feel human again. But till then, I slowly chip away at the rock. I twist the tears and nightmares between them and hope that the residued pulp will reroot and grow me a safer skin. See, this is less a poem and more a diary. These deaths by police cannot be ignored. We need more inquiries. Happy for those who haven't the distress, but rest in peace to the unlucky ones prior to me. That's it.